Hello, good afternoon. This is U.S. Immigration Attorney Sharifa Tharpe. I'm here live to take your U.S. immigration related questions. Go ahead and put your comments now so that I can answer your questions. Now, I have a great topic for you today. I do have some updates that I want you to know about. So, the first exciting piece of news I have for you is my clients are now getting the 5-year work permit. So, after October 1st, any work permits are issued after that date. They will be issuing 5-year work permits for certain case types, not all case types. And so VAWA is one of them. VAWA is one of them. So VAWA is where you're applying based on mistreatment by your U.S. citizen or legal permanent resident, spouse, parent, or adult citizen child. And so case, we have been in the case of our clients that apply for a work permit for another 5 years. Hopefully, and usually the VAWA process is shorter than 5 years, but they have granted 5-year work permits to allow the processing time, allow flexibility for the processing times, and at the same time, put less stress on individuals whose work permits expire within 2 years, but yet the process is still going. They haven't gotten their work permits. So right now, the government has seen the 5-year work permit as a solution to this, and I agree, because the constant dealing with the renewals, dealing with the expirations of work permit, not being able to get the work permits back to the client on time, even after renewing it, can be stressful on everybody. So this is exciting, and I'm actually seeing this happening in person because we're now getting these work permits in the mail with a 5 years. So my clients' work permits won't expire until 2028. And of course, she's going to get her green card before that. So the one I got today, she's going to get her green card before that. However, she has that 5-year work permit. Now, let me talk about VAWA because I think it's one of those types of benefits that you should be applying for that you may not understand how valuable it is. Now, of course, you do have to qualify for this. VAWA is not some necessarily a type of benefit that you just apply for just because you're an immigrant and you'd like a 5-year work permit and you'd like your green card. You do have to qualify for it. But another sad fact is that there are individuals out there, vulnerable individuals who qualify for this form of relief that don't know. And then furthermore, if you are applying for, if you don't know you qualify for VAWA, but you also have other issues going on, right? Like you may have crossed the border without permission. You may have in the past. So you may have crossed the border without permission. You may have overstayed your visa. You may have even gotten deported and then you came back into the country. And VAWA can fix those situations. Now, with certain situations, like if you left the country and then you ended up coming back, that's big trouble. For example, if you were deported or you overstayed over a year in the country, then you left and then you snuck back in, that's big trouble. It means that you're subject to a permanent bar. Now, VAWA can, if you do qualify for VAWA fixes that situation if you can show that your entry, the second entry was related to the mistreatment or abuse by your spouse, by your parent, or by your citizen child. So there is a waiver available for that. That's not usually available in other types of immigration cases. Now, what if you came through the border? You may have come through the border. They may have inspected you at the border. They may have granted you parole. you still can qualify for VAWA. Or you may have snuck across the border, and you came here, now you have either a citizen or resident spouse, a parent, or a child, you still can qualify for VAWA. Now, another bad situation is where you've possibly overstayed your visa and you feel stuck. And you have this relative who could qualify you for the green card, but they're not making any moves to do that. And they're mistreating you. Now, in that case, you can still qualify for VAWA. Now, with VAWA, we're able to apply for your adjustment of status. You're able to apply for your work permit with your adjustment of status and your travel document. Now, I do have some bad news here. And for the longest time, the spouses of permanent residents could also apply for their adjustment of status at the same time because it was current. But the visa bulletin they now have a wait list. So this is what you've heard me say. I've heard this, you've probably heard me say this in the past, time and time again, apply now, because that wait list can come at any time. Well, that wait list is here, people. But what I'm going to say here is that if you're the spouse of a permanent resident and they're mistreating you, apply now, because the wait list is relatively short. It's only going to get longer. So if you're the spouse of a permanent resident and you're being mistreated, you're looking to fix your status, to get your papers, to get your work permit, then going to be the way. But we have a wait list, and you have to make sure you apply now before the wait list gets longer. So that's a bit of bad news. That's a bit of an update that I want to give you there. Now, if you're the spouse of a U.S. citizen and that U.S. citizen is mistreating you, you can still apply for your work permit, your travel document, your green card, all at the same time that you're filing for your petition. So apply now. There's usually never a wait list. Under the law, there's never a wait list for spouses of U.S. citizens, but residents, and that is here now. It's here now. That wait list is here, and it's only going to get longer. So it's urgent at this point to make sure you determine whether you qualify for VAWA and get away. You want to fix a bad situation. You want to fix your overstay. You need to fix maybe coming through the border without permission. You want to fix possibly even a permanent bar. If it's related to the mistreatment, it's possible with VAWA. VAWA may be able to fix this for you, but this is where it's very important that we talk. Now, another thing is you may have a fear of applying because maybe you were arrested in situations where it was related to the mistreatment or the abuse that experience. The immigration will possibly overlook that without even requiring you to fill out any additional paperwork. If it's related, if you can show it was related to the mistreatment. Now, if you were arrested in the past and it was unrelated to mistreatment, there are waivers available. So you can still here and apply for your permanent residence, even if you've had an arrest, okay, or something that has made you inadmissible. Keep in mind that there are still waivers available for that, and the waivers does look at your extreme hardship to apply for the waiver. So VAWA, the message I want you to get here is, if you are vulnerable, you have been mistreated by a spouse, a parent, or a citizen adult child, something in your background stop you from applying this. Here's another situation that it's a rare type of situation. It's less common, but I have seen it. And that's where you come in with a C1D visa, the crewman's visa. Now, if you are watching this and you have come in on a crewman's visa, you very well know what the consequences are, or maybe you don't, maybe you learn the consequences here. Overstay crewman's visa, it means you can't adjust status, right? You can't adjust status in most cases. With VAWA, you can. VAWA allows you to adjust status, even if you came in with a crewman's visa. So with here is if you've gone through a situation that left you vulnerable, you were mistreated by this citizen or resident spouse, parent, or citizen child who's age 21 or over, you should not be focusing on the fear you have about your background, because VAWA has more flexibility to allow you to move forward in your process despite your background. It allows you, it empowers you, and it doesn't want you to, the system is set up to reduce that fear and anxiety you may have about possibly facing more harsh immigration penalties as a result of something in your background. So this is where it's very important, though, to call and schedule an appointment. Let's talk, because VAWA can fix a lot. It can even now, the way VAWA works is once you qualify, we apply. You can apply for your adjustment of status right now if you qualify, or you can apply when your priority date becomes current. That's the wait list I'm talking about. When you apply, you're able to get your work permit, and they're issuing 5-year work permits right now. Make it less stressful for you, so you can move forward with working, getting settled there, and then when you're ready to move to get the green card, you can make an easy transition from the work permit to the green card. And by the way, when I say work permit, you get the social security number. I know if you've been here for a long time, or you are just getting started here and you're without papers, it's a struggle, right? Because every employer asks, everywhere asks, if you're looking to do business, they're asking for your social security number. And with the work permit, you're also issued a social security number. All right, so now I'm going to go to questions. I see a lot of questions coming in, so I want to get through all your questions very quickly. So let us go. Yes, Chev, exactly. I'm happy because the VAWA applicants do deserve to have that peace of mind. So VAWA is a part of it. If someone misses their medical appointments, will they get denied? If you don't submit your medical, then yes, the medical is required unless you can somehow show that you qualify for an exemption, but your medical is going to be required, so they will deny you. Thanks so much, Chev. How long does a VAWA case take to get approved? So it can take, right now we're looking at 3 years. So 2.5 to 3 years. But here's the benefit, is that while you're waiting, you will likely be able to qualify for your work permit and your travel document at the same time, so that you can move forward with life as you wait for it to get approved. If I need to report from a doctor, my wife abused me physically, so what I need to tell the doctor. So I wouldn't be able to advise on that. I mean, if you are being abused by your spouse, then it is something, I know it's a difficult situation to go through. If you do feel the need to tell your doctor for treatment purposes or other purposes, just tell them what happened and they will be able to advise further. All right. Okay, bear with me. I'm scrolling through, so just hang tight as I get to your questions. I am going to get to you question soon. What is the process requirements for advanced degree green card? So this is the national interest waiver. And first, you have to show that you qualify by meeting the educational requirements. So, do you have an advanced degree or do you have a bachelor's degree with at least 5 years of experience? Good. If you meet that, then the next step is you have to show that you can achieve the goals here that you are setting out to achieve. And so there are specific criteria that they look at. So, like, are you pursuing something of national importance and substantial merit? Do you have the means to do that? And then, is it in the best interest of the United States to waive that requirement for the labor certification so that you can skip the employer offer and the employer labor certification to get the green card? And usually at that stage, you have to look at are you providing a service or a business, or are you providing a skill that is possibly an urgent need or shortage here in the United States? That's where you're going to have to prove that to get the labor certification waived. But they're going to look at whether you can meet the three criteria. Now, going back to the advanced degree green card, keep in mind you don't necessarily need an advanced degree. There is also the exceptional ability. So if you can show that you have exceptional ability in your field, you can qualify for this. But of course, they have like 6 criteria that you have to show. You have to show 3 out of the 6 criteria in documentary evidence to determine whether you can qualify for the national interest waiver. So that is, and I can do a whole live on the national interest waiver, but that in a nutshell is what the national interest waiver is. What happens when a VAWA is denied? So it means you're back at square one. You can appeal your decision or you can refile if you do have better evidence. But the strategy, the follow-up strategy is going to depend on what happened in your case. Why was it denied, to determine, is it a good strategy to refile with better evidence, or should you appeal that decision? Can you travel with it? So you can travel with a work permit, but what we do is we apply for the travel document at the same time as a work permit, and the travel document comes on the work permit. So it's in the right hand side corner, it's going to tell you whether you qualify to travel. It's going to say it serves as a travel document as well. I'm going through answering questions. Thanks so much, Roderick. I appreciate that. I married a U.S. citizen, but he was already married and divorced his first wife, and he married me in the Islamic way. Can I apply for VAWA? Yes. So I'm glad you brought this up. Now, keep in mind, I'm not your attorney. I can't give personalized legal advice here. So when I say yes, I mean generally speaking. I don't know whether you qualify specifically for VAWA, because there are other criteria we have to look at as well. And this goes for everybody. This is general information. I'm not giving you personalized legal advice. But whenever you have someone who they're married and then they marry you, and you had every reason to believe your marriage was valid until somehow it came to light that your spouse was already married, then you can apply for VAWA based on that. And of course, if you meet all the other criteria for VAWA as well. If someone applied for VAWA and didn't apply for concurrent, can you still get work permit because she didn't apply? Great question. You must apply for the I-485 first to get the work permit. So you must. Now, otherwise, your VAWA, you'll have to wait for it to be approved to get the permit. But remember, it takes 3 years for that VAWA petition to be approved, 2.5 to 3 years. But when you apply for the adjustment of status currently, meaning at the same time as the petition, then that's where you're issued that work permit. My son entered with his visa last year. He was 17. He has his girlfriend, and they're both 18 now. They want to get married as she's now pregnant. Can they get married at 18? She's a citizen. Great question. They do not have age limits for the marriage base, meaning if she's 18, she can still file for him or his permanent residence. Now, of course, that's different when, say, a citizen child wants a petition for their parent, they have to be 21 or over. Do I have a chance to get the work permit with my tax ID? Tax ID has nothing to do with the work permit. What does have to do with the work permit is, do you qualify in some way for the work permit? This is what I do in my consultations. I ask very specific questions to cover all the bases to determine whether you can qualify for a work permit. There are different ways, different situations under which you can apply for a work permit. VAWA, which I'm speaking about today, is one of them. But I also apply for other types of benefits, just depending on what my clients have been through. Before the 2-year mark, when to renew the work permit. So I would say at least 6 months before. Make sure you get on that, on renewing, because it's going to take a while. When you're doing VAWA, how long does the process take? 2.5 years to get the VAWA, about 9 months to a year. So today we got a work permit for one of our clients, a 5-year work permit within 7 months. 7 months the work permit came. So I would say my shortest time I've seen under VAWA is 4 months to get the work permit under VAWA. The longest, 12 months. If you stay less than 2 months in the US, can you use a card? So I'm not sure what you mean. Here and you're married, you can, there's nothing that says you have to be here for a certain amount of time to now apply for the green card through marriage. What's important though is your marriage real? That's what you need to make sure you establish with immigration. K1 applied overseas, approved, got married in USA. Then I applied for I-485, got baby born. It's been 2 years now, 1 RFE submitted. And again, 1 year for that. So it sounds like you have a complicated case. Get legal advice. You can always call, schedule an appointment, and it's really easy. My office is very accessible. If you just go click on the link, you'll see the different ways to get in touch with the office. You have a button to schedule your own appointment. You have the website where you can sign up, and the office will call you to schedule an appointment. So very easy to get in touch with us. If married to an LPR, and in the US, since there is no wait time for this category, can still go ahead and put in the petition, or it's best to wait for the spouse to get citizenship. So with VAWA, what I would say is get it in ASAP. You want the petition to be pending ASAP. This is your petition, and it's not dependent on your spouse. Your spouse isn't going to sign any documents. Now, get it in right now. Now, if you do establish that your spouse is a citizen, you can always update your VAWA later on and then submit the adjustment of status at the point that they become a citizen and you've upgraded your category from spouse of an LPR to spouse of a citizen. Then you can always update the VAWA. But my advice is get the VAWA in ASAP. But don't rush. Now, don't rush to get your things in on your own, by the way, because that can be a disaster in itself. But make sure you go through the steps, get your legal advice, and get your petition in ASAP. How long? So I see here, please do a live on the national interest waiver. So I think I will do that. So you can all hear about this additional option. I do like to assist individuals who are here and you may be in a bind. You may not have your papers, and I like to help people to fix their status. But the national interest is not the best way to go about fixing your status. So if you're without status, the national interest waiver is not a good way. And this is why I don't talk a lot about it on here, because I want to educate individuals about how to fix their current situation. But it is an option that I can talk about in the future. I'll definitely have it on my to-do list. But there's a lot going on here, and I want to make sure people understand what's going on. Since she didn't do concurrent, can she go back to apply for I-485? No. This is where it's important, Sophia, get representation. Get legal advice, get representation. It matters, and it will take a lot off of you. Delicia, thanks for the follow. What happened if you have an aggravated felony as a youth? So if it depends, if you are under 18, then it may not count against you, but we'd have to determine the facts here. When it comes to these criminal type of or offenses, we have to look at the facts and determine what happened and whether what follow up to do. Is there going to be a waiver involved? Does it even count if you were under 18? I have a VAWA and pending green card. I found out my attorney filed for EAD under C31 after 16 months with no work permit. So reapply under C9 4 months ago. How long will it take? So anywhere from 9 months to a year. What is the indication on work permit that it is also travel document? So in the bottom right corner, it says advanced parole. What happens if you have an aggravated felony as a youth and got offended, youth offender status? Can it affect you? This is where it's important to schedule an appointment, and we can talk more about that. We need to figure out your age, what was the offense, is it even aggravated felony? Does it meet that criteria? Can I still send my son's medical into immigration if the due date is passed? So if you're talking about an RFE and you're trying to figure out whether to send it in afterwards, I would say that my advice would have to be on an individual level to determine what the best course of action is. What's the best strategy going forward? Hi, Kelvin. Thank you. What if your child's father is a citizen, but he did put him on the filing? What if but he did put him on the filing, but the child is here in the state? What can I do? If the child is a citizen, they need to have their own petition through your spouse, and they have to qualify as either the biological child of the citizen or the stepchild. But if they're the biological child of the citizen, maybe they're a citizen already themselves. So that's another question. Hi, after applying for VAWA case, how long before you get the work permit? I would say the average is 9 to 12 months. All right, thanks everyone for your questions. I appreciate it. How long after DQ does it take to get an interview? DQ is when you're outside of the country, you've worked with the embassy, you've gotten all your documents in, and all they have to do now is schedule your appointment. And unfortunately, the wait time is about 1.5 years. We did have one of those approved, so an interview approved for one of our clients. So she is coming from Africa very soon. And so the timeline though, we've had approvals in Jamaica and Africa in the past 2 weeks. And those have been really good because I've been through the process with my clients. And so, you get very anxious to see them come to the US. And I would say the wait time for the interview is anywhere from 1.5 to 2 years. All right. Now, I did have a date. It's not great news, but I've talked about it in the past. The Department of Homeland Security did officially make the announcement. They did gear it towards Venezuelans, but they have now emphasized the fact that they will be starting removal proceedings for Venezuelans who have no legal basis to be here. And I've been hearing this theme, this reoccurring theme now over the past few weeks. I've been hearing them say this, that if you have no legal basis to be here, and this is likely for those who have been processed through the border, that if they have no legal basis to be here, they're starting to work on removal. So this is also another reminder to just make sure that you evaluate what your legal basis could be. If you're looking at applying for asylum, don't wait. Get an evaluation and get it known. There's a deadline to apply for asylum, by the way, so you shouldn't be waiting. That could be a legal basis. VAWA could be a legal basis. The T status could be a legal basis. You know, a petition through family members, if you qualify, could be a legal basis. So I am ready and open to assist. This past week, I have been very busy shelling out my clients' filings because we have many clients who they have established a legal basis to be here, and we're letting immigration know by filing their applications. So I'm excited about that. My team is excited about that. So we're working really hard to get these out. So making time also to talk to individuals about their possible avenues to stay here and to get residence here, to get your work permit or benefits here. So go to link in the profile, click on the link, and then schedule your appointment, or you can call to schedule your appointment. Staff will be more than happy to help you to do that. My schedule is filling up very quickly, and I want to make sure that you are on my calendar so I can discuss options with you. All right, so I'll talk to you soon. Thanks so much for your questions. Again, these were all great questions, and I'm looking forward to doing another live with you and answering some more questions. Have a good day. Bye-bye.